Well, we're recording now, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees work session for October 10th, 2023. We have two members who are zooming in, Trustee Rawlings and Deputy Mayor Lou Young. They noticed where they are, so they're fully participating members. Trustee Rawlings has to have his picture up. You have to turn your camera on, Manny.
While he's eating. I know he's eating something.
All right. Okay, that being said, I need a motion to open this meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're going to start with tonight. I'm going to turn the proceedings over to our village manager because he has some very special guests here tonight. They are populating our courtroom. They are members of the Village of Mamaroneck Emergency Operations Center. They were all present during the storm that we had 2 Fridays ago. What was that, the 29th? They were all either out in the field or in the Emergency Operations Center, and they were all working to keep the people of this community safe and to make sure that the community recovered. And we're here to thank them all for the hard work that they did. I'm going to turn it over to our esteemed colleague, Jerry Barbario, the village manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we talk about the EOC team, I'm going to call up our HR personnel manager, Danielle Gilliard, and she's going to introduce a new employee. And she is going to talk about herself a little bit. Danielle, whatever the budget. So she can talk about herself. You just introduce her.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm introducing Destiny Neely. She's gonna be our new part-time intermediate clerk for the HR department. She's been with us exactly 2 weeks as of yesterday. And right now, we're training her to do various functions, including distribution of departmental orders, some county paperwork. She's manning my job posting and responses. She's doing my canvas letters and responses for job opportunities. She's setting up appointments for interviews. She's tracking off time. She's already done that in the 2 weeks that she's been here. I will be training her on how to do new hires. She's going to be doing some tracking of some compliance items. She will be maintaining the HR records. She'll be tracking my various deadlines. She'll be doing some draft letters. She's going to be making labels and folders for my department. And she will be putting together my new hire packets. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Destiny to introduce herself.
Thank you, Desmond. Good luck to you.
Okay, so when I call your name, if you want to stand up, please stand up. Deputy Village Manager Dan Sarnoff, Village Engineer Gina Farbasio.
Stand up. Let the people know who we're
Treasurer is on the screen.
honoring here.
Our Building Inspector Carolina Fonseca. Our HR Director Danielle Gilliard. Superintendent of Recreation Jason Pinto, Superintendent of DPW and Fire Chief James Barney, Superintendent of Parks Jeff On, our EMS Chief Jason Capalbo, our Harbor Master Jeff LaRusso, Police Chief Sandra DeRuza, our IT Director Cliff Faces, I think was
Yeah.
babysitting. Our Land Use Secretary Brittany O'Neill, Secretary to the Village Manager Courtney Warren, Intermediate Account Clerk Elena DeCunzio, our Technical Support Specialist Joe Marcel. Is he back?
Yeah.
He's got his honeymoon in Italy right now, so congratulations to him.
You couldn't put it off?
No, he couldn't put it off. Office Assistant Harbor Master Kristen Saloff, Deputy Treasurer Laura Vasami, our Public Information Officer Robert Ingenito, Deputy Village Clerk Sally Roberts, and Assistant General Foreman Pablo Ruiz. So, Board of Trustees.
Give your all self.
Andy.
The mayor and board, these are who run the team, who execute every order, who facilitate everything that everyone needs throughout the village during emergencies that we are continuing to get way too frequently now. And it's a pleasure to be their leader because they never say no. And they just put their head down and get it done. And when it comes to the response that we had at this event, it was unfortunately very familiar to us, but extremely effective and efficient. And it was something that I think some of the trustees were able to see and acknowledge that the training and the work that we do really does pay off when it's needed. I do have a couple of people. So let's give them another round of applause so they can sit down. So I have Rebecca Tirado from the Red Cross and Janet Fry or Roland, I'm not really sure which one I use, from the CRC, and if they could come up and talk a little bit about what they saw during the event, that would be terrific. Because I promised my staff I wouldn't put them on the spot, but I didn't promise you guys. So come on up. Yep, you're not shy. Introduce yourself, be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Rebecca Tirado. I'm the Disaster Program Manager for the American Red Cross. I cover Westchester and Rockland counties. I also cover the town of Greenwich. But it's just been really great to see the response of the town, the village of Mamaroneck. Because if it encourages you guys just a little bit, the response to support these families affected, I have not seen in any other county, in any other town that I cover. And that says a lot about you guys, to see how compassionate and how you guys work together. It's been almost humbling.
Yeah.
It was just really amazing to have the opportunity to work with you guys, considering I just started in this, even with the Red Cross since 2016. But I just started in this position 2 months ago. So this was, I don't want to say a great first start, but it was something that I value and something that I hope that I never have to experience again, but I know that we will, and to know that you guys have your communities back is just what warms my heart. And so, thank you guys.
Yeah, before you sit, I just want to say, I ran into you a few times in the course of that, and you worked tirelessly, you inspired your crew, and you took care of our residents with kindness and love. And we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I echo Rebecca's words, and I just want to thank each one of you for going out there in the middle of the storm and respond to families' needs. It's incredible the work you do. I also want to thank the Coalition for Community, a number of organizations, houses of worship, like St. Thomas Church, St. John's, Larchmont Temple, Larchmont Avenue Church, so many houses of worship, and organizations of Christian Alliance, WJC, that jump in and support efforts to help families in need, families without nothing, without anything, and some others just displaced. And just seeing a helping hand from each one of you means a lot to them. So I'm grateful for each one of you and for this collaboration and for the response with, as Rebecca said, compassion, with compassion and a way to just give those families what they need. So thank you for recognizing, the work that we all do here. This community is essential. Thank you.
Those of you who don't know, Janet works for the Community Resource Center, which is integral to getting our residents back on their feet and getting the people of this community help when they need it and making this a more fair community for everybody. We thank them for their work, and Janet's been there for a long time, and she's, one of the people who make this a better place to live. Thank you. All right. You're all dismissed. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate taking the time out of your busy lives. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Guys, take care.
Thanks,
They
Chief.
must have thought they were in
Chief.
trouble.
Emma, have a good day. Bye, sweetheart.
He knows your name.
I always tell her she's my second favorite Emma. That's because and for those who don't know, my daughter's name is Emma. Okay. Thank you for that, Jerry. It's important that people know who they are. Okay, let's go. We'll start with old business 1A. That's being held until October 20th. Our next meeting is October 20th? The special meeting for the police officers. Yes. Proposed local law to amend the subdivision plat PLLX. That's going to be on to October 23rd. The planner and the lawyer are shaking their heads in the affirmative. And oh, wow. I'm sorry, were people not hearing me? I know you pick up a lot, I'll tell you that. It's
Like the one thing.
Item 1C, diversity, equity, and inclusion training for village volunteer boards and committee members. Jerry Lilani, you want to talk about this?
Do you need me to adjourn?
No, so really, I think the reason why this item was held over is we had asked Sally to be able to provide us the number of volunteers. So we have 84 volunteers that would be eligible of receiving the diversity training if the board approves their training. And so that's really, I think, what the only item that was not available at the time that we talked about it last meeting.
And I think at the last meeting, we said that we'll hold it off until after the appointments or the reappointments of the new people coming in, correct? I think, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna wait until
After-
setting up the training like in December, right?
Yes,
But I just wanted
After
to
the
make sure
organization.
that a number, it
yes.
is with significant number of volunteers, 84 volunteers, so.
Oh,
Can we start with the volunteers who actually have who aren't advisory, who have decision making?
Sure, anything.
Because I think that's more important, right? And get them first and then work our way down.
well, are those volunteers leaving in November or have any of them like
I
expired?
think he's just asking about the training, how we do the training setup.
So in other words, like CZM, HCZM, planning, zoning, architecture review, who have to vote on items that affect people's lives. Start them first and then do like the tree committee and.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
or so in December.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
no,
okay,
I'm-
okay,
no,
okay.
I'm talking about the order in which we have them
Yeah,
trained.
yes, that's fine, that's fine.
So
Is it gonna be the same? Because the training for staff and is gonna be
then it's gonna be
12
the same.
sessions.
It's gonna be the same, but the individuals that are running the training, they want 30 to 40 people at a time. So we had to break it up into 4 sessions.
Okay.
So, and it's gonna be, so there's like a 1, 2, 3, 4. If you put into section 1, then you're always section 1. Every 3 months you get training. But it's like a 30 or 40. So I think the mayor's asking is that we have the members from those boards as the first section
Mhm,
Yeah.
and then move on to the other sessions.
that's fine.
Because we had to split ours into 4. We had 100 over about 150. We split ours into 4.
But when is that starting? Because
We're starting ours now. We're starting ours now in November.
so what about the Board of Trustees? What session will we be in?
I don't know yet. I didn't divide
Okay.
everybody up.
Okay.
But when I spoke to Philip, I said that that I agreed to the 30 or 40 people per session.
Does it, I have a question. Does this include the judges?
Yeah.
No.
Why
doesn't
not?
include the judges. I don't think I included the judges.
Why not?
It could. I don't
We
know.
should definitely, they're elected officials. We should offer it
They
to
should
them.
100% be in this.
So
Yeah,
that,
it's got a point.
that 150, and that includes police officers?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, the judges definitely should.
So we will offer it to them. Unless you guys want.
I don't know if we can force it.
If I tell them they have to do it, you know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen, right? So
I'll send an email.
we'll send an email, we'll just offer it to them, say this is available to them.
Strongly suggested.
You can't compel them.
No.
Okay.
We can strongly suggest.
And they may have similar training.
Pass them the mic, Jerry.
Sorry. My name's Jerry.
Sorry. So. Your independently elected officials not within your control. You can't compel them to attend. And they may also respond to the invitation that they receive similar training from the Office of Court Administration.
That's fine.
I don't know.
If they have, that's fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
When you were a judge, did they have training like this?
They did.
Oh, really?
I don't think like this. Do you-
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
We have to go to judge school every year.
I don't know why I don't address you as judge. You know, if we were down south, you'd be judge forever.
I don't think so.
I'm going to see Judge Spolzino up yonder and I'm sorry.
Lord. And let's get things run out in this.
Thank you. 1D, engineering and design services for water quality improvement project at Harbor Island Park. And the village engineer will address this issue.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board.
Good
So this
evening.
project is for the repaving of the Harbor Island parking lot directly behind the sewage treatment plant. We are looking in lieu of just paving with the regular asphalt. We're trying to incorporate additional stormwater management and incorporate a pervious asphalt into this entire parking lot. We received a proposal from Pellet Sessions to for the surveying, the design, the stormwater management and permitting, bidding phase and construction management phase for this project.
Okay, so is there a storm drain there now on that parking lot?
Yes, there are, but
I know what happens when it
yeah,
rains. Yeah.
just become inundated. There's not many of them. I think there's 2 towards sort of one end of them.
Yeah.
You know, but again, the parking lot is in a seriously dilapidated state. So
Wasn't the county gonna do this?
I believe there was an agreement. I don't know if they agreed to pay a portion of it, but it was just gonna be for regular asphalt. We could look into this and perhaps try to recover some of the funds.
Yeah.
For just what would be regular pavement, but the pervious asphalt is gonna be cost additional.
Okay, yeah, if they could pay, thank you, Carolina.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you,
If
Good
they
night.
could,
everybody.
if they
Have a
could
great
cover,
night. I got your dinner. I'll come back for that.
if they could cover their regular costs, and then, we'll do the overage.
And
Thanks, Julie.
just to be clear, because there's no map, this is the area, the
Yeah.
long narrow area right behind the sewage treatment plant leading to the dog park, not what we just paved last year.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, I was there, this weekend, it looks like.
Yeah.
Created a sort of move.
So
Yeah.
people know it's not what we just paved.
No,
Okay. So, so what do we have to do here tonight?
I guess vote to.
It was just to discuss it with the board,
Yeah, exactly.
and we'll bring it to the next regular meeting, should the board be agreeable to that.
Okay.
Can we see, I mean, I think we need to see what, because the county was going to they used it for their staging area for the work they were doing on the sewage treatment plant.
Right.
So that's part of the reason it's in the shape it's in now. So I think we should see if we can get the county to help on this.
And how successful have you been so far?
Well, not very. Almost kind of a short-term memory loss.
Yeah, we gotta get everything right from now on.
Yes. I will go back to the county and
Yes.
try to have another conversation and jog their memory.
I mean, not with the elected officials, but with some of the county staff, we're on the pay no mind list.
Well, that project did take a lot longer than they thought it would, so.
Yeah.
But also, how are we funding this? Like, what's the basket of money that is coming from?
Well, I think this would be capital. I don't believe there is any this water quality improvement project, project. So this would be funded through capital.
Future issues of debt.
Again, I think we need to have a pretty clear schedule of what our future issuance of debt is.
Okay, so this will be on, is it gonna be on the agenda in 2 weeks?
So we'll put it on the agenda in 2 weeks. Nora wants the map. Kind of
No,
highlight.
I mean,
Okay.
I know where it is. I just wanted to make the point that it wasn't something we've just
Yeah.
repaved.
Put the map in the backup
Yeah, we'll
for
put
2
the
weeks.
map in the back. But I do want to point out that the individual, our former village engineer who cut this deal with the county is also now the deputy commissioner of public works at the county. And conveniently has forgotten about the deal that he cut with the county when he was here. So understand that, I guess there's a little payback about his situation, and that's what we're involved in right now.
And I recently had to go to the county executive to get something cleared up.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, well, sidewalk replacement, Hillside Avenue, Howard Avenue, Nostrand Avenue, Underhill Avenue, Elliott Avenue, Ralph Avenue.
Again, up again.
Yeah, you're up again.
Okay, so this project is for new sidewalks from on Ralph Avenue, from Elliott to New, Underhill Avenue from New Street all the way to the end where the I-95 is. And then again from Hillside Avenue from the Merrimack to Hillside Avenue Bridge. And Howard Avenue from Hillside to Nostrand Avenue will be new sidewalks and new roadway resurfacing and some minor drainage improvement projects. AKRF has completed their design drawings, specifications, and bid sheets. And we currently have this bid. Bids are due again, this is October 19th.
That's correct.
Okay. And
So the funding on this is American Rescue Plan Act Fund, 400,000, and then we have $175,681 from the Neighborhood Stabilization Fund. That was graduation and the zone was set up.
And I forwarded the board a copy of the engineer's estimate maybe 3 weeks ago. I did not want to include it with the backup as we are currently in the bid process.
Mhm.
I didn't want to put out a document where we'd be negotiating against ourselves at that point.
Good for you.
So we'll,
It's been aside to through Barry's recommendation, we could actually incorporate for a portion of this project for 15 trees to be planted in front of St. Peter's Church, which will also incorporate the use of structural soil. That is a type of subbase that will permit tree roots to grow and not interfere or upheave the sidewalk in the future, because sometimes we always see in the village replacing upheaval sidewalks is kind of an ongoing issue. This type of soil permits tree roots that grow within the void spaces of a specific type of gravel soil that's used as a subbase. And it limits the amount of upheaval that we have.
Well, limiting upheaval.
And if you did receive a copy of the plans as part of the agenda, I realize it's probably pretty difficult to see, so if you don't want to take with a larger set, Gino did bring a larger set for anyone to take a look at if you'd like.
Maybe at the break. Thank you, Don. I like that you come prepared like that. Water monitoring systems, trustee Lucas?
Well, this is something that will work. It's like, it's a gauge. I mean, it's a gauge, and they're not as expensive as the USGS gauges. But they are, I think they're $1,000 or $2,000 a piece, and we would put them in on poles, and we would be able to.
So you put them in what?
You put them in on poles, and we would install them, but they would be able to monitor the water. They would be able to monitor the level of the water, and they would be able to monitor the rapidity. So it would provide us with the kind of information that a gauge would provide us with. And these things are typically less expensive than the USGS gauges. And I think that we need to, we decided not to do the gauges because they were too expensive, but I think that we need to be understanding how fast the water is flowing. And these can be timed so you could have a reading every half hour, or in a storm situation, a reading more frequently. And I think that would just be able to provide more data on how much rain we're getting and how fast the water is flowing. So I think I'm not saying this is the only option. This is really one option for some sort of a water monitoring system or a river gauge.
Well, I'd like to see prices on them. Manny, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I that was my question too. I would like to see pricing on them too, but it is, if I heard correctly, these would be installed on poles. And I just trying to think of like where they would be located if we were to do something like this, because near many of our rivers, that means we would be installing poles, installing these, and I just don't know what that looks like. I'm not against it. I'm just trying to understand like that process from basically from looking at the backup of what it looks like. It seems like it's a wired kind of monitor, and how I just want to know more of how they work.
I'm not saying, I'm not committed to this. I think we need to be installing river gauges. I don't think any of the five of us are probably qualified to pick the gauges, but that a river gauge, we used to have river gauges. It's kind of, it's a pretty simple kind of measuring system. Gino probably took that in geology 101, right? That it's a pretty simple system. This is a little bit more technical, so it can feed to a website with cellular service. I'm not like committed to this brand. I'm just committed to figuring out how we can install river gauges so that we can know the depth and the flow of the rivers.
Do you know how long ago we had the river gauges and what happened to them?
They were installed by the USGS, and the USGS stopped paying for them, so
How long ago?
I think that they were removed maybe 8 or 10 years ago.
I don't remember. Is that it?
They were, I know they were there in 2007.
Yeah.
I don't think after that though, because I think
Did they help?
I mean, it provided data on the velocity of the river at specific locations.
So they got rid of them after 2007. Then there were two big floods after that. And then with those floods, we never replaced them until we're trying to ask now.
Right, but let's just clear something up. They would not have stopped the flood.
No, I know that. I know, well, there's not much that goes stop the
No,
flood.
just saying.
The problem I see with these, I mean, it seems like a nice machine. But there's a delay in reporting it. It would be nice information to have. I mean, I watched the cameras work during the last big event we had, and it was they did exactly what we expected them to do. We knew when the dam was being topped. We knew when the flooding was beginning. We were able to intercept floatables because we could see them. We were able to see when a floatable did not need it to be intercepted. I saw Jerry being able to send people to certain things, and we knew when the water started to recede. So all the things that we need the water gauges for, the cameras accomplished. This wouldn't be a bad addition. I think we should send it to FEMAC and see what they think.
Why don't we send it to, instead of sending it to FEMAC, why don't we have the village engineer look at it and see what's out there? FEMAC, doesn't have the ability to decide what water monitor is the best.
All right.
I'm okay with, seeing what,
It would be supplemental to the cameras, but I think the cameras absolutely proved their worth during the Ophelia event. There's no doubt about it.
I agree with you. The cameras were well watched. They were commented upon a lot, but they were well watched. There were hundreds of people watching it at one point.
So.
Well, people complained when they were finally turned off, but I was saying it's not a TV show; it's a warning system. So that's it.
So, Mayor and Board, there is merit, but to the water level monitoring. I'm sorry. I think what they're claiming is somewhat misplaced. I think it's great to record the water level, right? Because it says here that it's logged every 15 minutes, and then every hour these measurements are transmitted back to the cloud platform for processing. One thing that after Ida was that FEMA wanted to know what the water levels are, right? And they were looking at buildings, and that's kind of upsetting because we could measure the flood in buildings. But I think if we do consider, based on the price, I don't recall, I don't remember. Dan, you remember what the prices were on this? I don't remember.
I think it was for a period of 3 or 5 years. It was.
That was the last one, but these are different. We would buy these. Yeah, that was.
I think the units are $1,000 a unit.
That's negligible.
Right.
But if we can record the level of work before the Army Corps project, and then take them out while the Army Corps is doing their work, and then record after, I think there might be some merit.
Yeah,
that's what this is not like
monitoring.
This is not monitoring for a flood storm. This is getting river data to see what's changed.
I think
it does what those USGS gauges.
I think the more important aspect is not necessarily the height. It's the CFS.
and used to see, are you saying to
What's probably the more important aspects, not necessarily the level, but the cubic feet per second going through, which is the velocity.
And if it changes, it does, and if the flow changes, that's.
Yeah, I mean.
That would,
But the sense of monitoring, I think, is misplaced, because we can't rely on every 15-minute, every hour reporting for monitoring. That's not how.
No, but that's not what the river gauges do either. I mean, that's not what the USGS gauges did. It was data that helped the Army Corps inform what they needed to do for their plan.
They sell it as that.
They already have their plan formulated.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying not to do it, but I'm just saying, they're basing it off the 07 storm.
Right,
Yeah.
but they're basing it off information that they got because we had gauges then.
I understand.
And we don't have them now, and that's.
And I'm not arguing against the gauges, but I'm just saying putting them in is not going to change the Army Corps plan.
No, it's not.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't put them in. I'm trying to give everybody, let me finish, give everybody clarity about what the Army Corps is and isn't, because I've seen a lot of miscommunication, and it's important for folks to know where we are and where we're going, and that the Army Corps is hopefully beginning in December. So Jerry, go ahead.
The only reason we would consider something like this is because it doesn't require the constant calibration, right? So when Gino starts looking into this stuff and then comes to me with, hey, this is what we found, or this is what this product does, or that product does, free bleed, whatever this is. If it's for recording levels, recording velocity, recording cubic
Cubic feet per second.
flow, it's fine, if it's a few $1,000.
Yeah.
If it's $50,000, that's a different story.
I mean, this is the less expensive, and this brand is just
Something
a
like
brand that I
this,
found.
yeah.
This kind of system is what a lot of people are using on a, way less formal basis than we would be. And it's simply a less expensive way of getting that information.
I know, but my empirical observation, and I think, from being out in the storm and looking at the rivers and watching Howard Avenue turn into a river again, is that the water was moving rapidly. And that's a good sign. We want the water to move rapidly. We want the water to get out of the community as quickly as possible. So I think hopefully we're making progress.
It would be nice to have data to back up the fact that what we're doing in the rivers is actually having an effect, because the anecdotal information and the observation by people who live along the river is that it has been moving more briskly since we did the cleaning and some of the dredging.
And I just want to point out that the head of DPW sent me a picture this morning of all of the debris that is collected by the dam coming from our upstream neighbors.
Mhm.
So, once again, we have to go into the dam and clean all that debris. And it didn't start here. No, so I think, the more we can make our friends up county aware that they're drowning us, the better off we are. And that picture was very informative because, there was like a whole bunch of debris. And obviously none of it came from the village of Mamaroneck because it was on the north side of the dam.
Well, then to that question, how are we gonna do that? Because that seems to be the number one question, is how are we going to ask and make and request and strongly suggest our up county neighbors? Like, we need everybody's help.
Yeah.
What are we gonna actively do?
I sent an article I found about communities using golf courses. And I sent that to the county executive and the county legislator. Communities using golf courses to, basically be retention basins. So you got to start, what's the whole thing is, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So we just got to keep putting pressure on.
I personally would like tangible steps so that I know what I can do, what everybody else is gonna be doing, because I also don't want to sit there and overstep. Let's say you already talked to the county executive or our county legislator, and I'm gonna come back and say the same thing, and even though that pressure is
I
good.
just sent them an article.
No, I get that, but I'm asking for tangible steps at this point.
Oh, we have somebody wants to weigh in here.
I just. It's on? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that,
This is our planner, Greg Cutler, for those playing along.
I've been reaching out to our neighboring communities, Harrison, Rye, I know Scarsdale, White Plains, to see what their stormwater regulations are in the wake of this. So I'm compiling all of that information. So at least kind of what they're doing on the ground, what their regulations are.
And how to
I know
compare to us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So.
Thank
I have,
you.
Another meeting this week with the planner from Harrison, so
Thank you.
we'll find out more.
On a trustee level. I would like to have a discussion, maybe not tonight, but eventually sooner rather than later, and really figure out tangible steps that we are each going to take when we are trying to advocate for our community.
For
And
this issue.
working for this particular issue in tandem together. That's it.
Why don't you put it on a work session for 2 weeks?
No problem.
There you go. Thank you.
And have a real discussion.
Have a real discussion. Water monitor systems, we'll look into that. Army Corps of Engineer presentation, that'll be on the 23rd. Jerry, Army Corps is the 23rd.
Yes, Mayor, on the 23rd. There's an on-site meeting on the 20th, and then they're coming here on the 23rd.
Sarah.
Seems to be gonna be the flood meeting.
Uh, Crosswalk on corner of Old Post Road and Royal Place.
Yes. This is something I came across, the, traffic committee, and my apologies for it to be late, but this is something that they need is, I know that they put the speed bumps up, but now,
Humps, speed humps.
I said,
Humps.
why
You
they
said
go,
bumps.
why they go?
This is a hump, not a bump.
They're different.
Okay,
They're different.
I'm
sorry, I'm
Up to me. I'm like, did I say something wrong? It's okay, words, I get it, now it's a speed hump. I know we put it, the speed humps, but, they do need a crosswalk, there was a situation where, while the children are used to possibly walking in the middle of the street, you know, coming home or things, and it's a pass-through street. But it is also could be dangerous, so, there is an outline, but they are asking for crosswalks.
So it would have to be from,
Pass-through street
Who?
from Hall.
no, what it is people come down, say you're going south, you're leaving Orienta, you're going south.
Yeah.
Instead of going to Boston Post Road and making the left, you go down Old Post and you go past McDonald's, then you make the left there.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
You skip a
Yeah.
couple
about, not the
lights.
kids. I was envisioning the kids and where they're coming from.
No,
But there's a few come from
Right.
Hall Street and then the others come from.
but a lot of kids who live in Orienta in that area
that's a couple.
walk through down that street to go to Hummocks and go to the high school.
And Royal, I think it's Royal is a one-way street
It
coming
is.
on.
No,
into-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming into
it
the
one way?
post road.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's one way. It's just.
Well, I mean,
Royal?
even if the street's one way, the kids are walking two ways.
Maybe just Old Post is the one way and
Old
Royal.
Post.
is-
Old Post is
Two way.
definitely one way.
Well, let's look at.
No,
Yeah,
no, Old
Royal's
Post
two
is one way.
But it's very small and it's kind of a tight corner. It's a
Yeah,
blind
it's,
corner. So the crosswalk would extend across Royal Place.
the only problem, I mean, I'm not saying not to do it, but the difficulty is that there are not sidewalks there.
There
Well,
there are no sidewalks, but there is a line that kind of.
Yeah, we have a painted pedestrian path.
Path, But
So, and
that sometimes with drivers, and we know people how they drive, they will, if it's not a real sidewalk, they will
and
kind of.
it is,
Pedestrian path is on the other side
It's
of
on the
Old
far side
Post
of the road.
Road.
yeah.
Yes,
Opposite Royal Place.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And obviously, it is in our long-term capital plan. A sidewalk and drainage improvements for Old Post Road. I mean, it's
That's for
not,
next year.
yeah, so it's, I think that's kind of like the next, one of the next major projects we're gonna be discussing among the staff and the
We
board.
need Matt to look at this or.
Well, we already have AKRF looking at it from both the drainage and the perspective and the sidewalk.
No, but that's not what he's asking. Is AKR looking at this crosswalk of World's Place?
I can ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, painting a crosswalk doesn't require any sort of board approval.
I know.
Yeah.
But I understand that, but what I want them to opine whether it's a smart move.
I will ask them tomorrow.
Because then if we don't have a handicap accessible ramp there, we might put one in.
Well, you don't need ramps for a crosswalk. That's something that I discussed with the request that came up for
Okay.
out here at Prospect and Mount Pleasant.
The sidewalk isn't proposed for both sides of that street, is it?
No.
No, it would be
It is proposed for the other side of the street. so
Yeah.
it still
Where the
doesn't
line
solve
is
this intersection.
no, but again, it's a quick conversation.
Or Royal doesn't have any sidewalk, does it?
No.
No, I mean, it's just not enough pedestrian
That's a
traffic.
good conversation,
Yeah.
right, but it has to be, we have to run it by.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
could we get an answer for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'll follow up tomorrow and I can email the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Items for tonight, donation of the fire engine to Seagrave Museum. This is the 1985 engine that I guess we wouldn't get much resale value out of. And 1985, what's that? How many years ago?
37,
Long time.
well, 38.
38 years ago. So the Seagrave has asked us to donate it to their museum. Does anybody have a problem with doing that?
I was in 5th grade when he purchased this.
I guess we can't get a write-off.
No.
Okay.
Well, how did we end up sending it all the way to Wisconsin? That's what that seems like a. I don't get that.
Yeah, they're
They're
gonna
gonna
rage with
pick
it.
it up. And that's where the Seagrave Company is.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
No, we're
We're
on
on
3A.
Oh, I have to see grade is 3B.
No,
No.
3A is the fire.
Okay.
3B is construction management contract with Khaled Sessions on sanitary sewer wheel rotation. I think it's 7, 9, 10, and 11.
Oh, yeah,
7, 9, and 10.
I apologize for that.
Right. Scribner's error.
It was a COVID influenced error.
Mayor, on this item, I spoke to Chief Costa. The department feels like it's an honor to be able to be asked to do something in the Seagrave.
Oh, you're back on the last slide.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, and there'll be a plaque commemorating the village of Mamaroneck apparently.
Sorry.
Excellent, and they deserve commemoration.
It means that they've kept the truck in good enough shape for display. That's
true.
Okay, Khaled Sessions, sanitary sewer, 3B.
Mayor, so this is a proposal that Khaled Sessions has.
turn the mic on, please.
It is.
It's on. Yeah, turn his voice on.
Okay. This is a proposal that Khaled Sessions has provided for the construction management oversight of the phase 2 sewer rehabilitation work that Green Mountain Pipeline Services and Westmoreland will be doing in the meter 7, 9, 10, and West Basin area. They'll be on site to effect and to document all of the repairs that were suggested that were required from their Arcadis, as well as to oversee the installation of the 11 direct sewer replacements that we have throughout the village in these areas.
So, and dealing with the Board of Health.
Right, and then they'll be correct. They'll be also scheduling the air testing for these 11 direct replacements, providing all of the design drawings and the approvals once they're complete.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody have a problem with having that on the agenda?
On the reso,
No.
I think it's. I think it's second page of the resolution. Unless it's listed on the first page as well. So on the first page at the very bottom, it's 7, 9, 10 and West Basin. On the second page, it's 6, 7, and 9. So it just needs to be corrected.
We'll take correction to make it.
It didn't make it in.
Okay.
It depends on what version you send it in, which version he's gonna post on the agenda, so it's.
It might be right on the regular meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
I think it's
I just want to bring it to your attention, thanks.
Thank you.
And the funding is just,
Sewer.
it's the sewer funding, so,
Sewer funding 100%.
right.
Scheduled public hearing on PLW 2023. That means we've gotten up to W this year. A lot of local ones. What?
Up to X.
Okay,
Yay.
pretty good. It's 24 laws. God only gave 10. Scheduling a public hearing on PLW 2023, strengthening the village code, raise stormwater. I looked at this and the changes that we discussed
In it.
at the last work sessions are in there. And I think that this is a big leap forward for the village. Would you like to just opine about it there?
Yeah, he created a council.
Yeah, you should.
This is his thing.
Your moment to shine.
Thank you. I'll try and be quick because this is the last item on your work session. 6 and 7, which is pretty impressive. This is a law that is aimed at doing a few things. Firstly, it's aimed at increasing resiliency of properties that are located in the flood zone by removing a current disincentive for elevating homes whereby many properties would be subject to the requirement to get variances should they decide to elevate their home. It is also taking an aggressive stance on stormwater mitigation for projects by increasing the stormwater design storm from a 25-year storm to a 100-year storm. It's creating a definition for a 500-year storm and making a infill housing development have to either address the 500-year storm and design to a 500-year storm, or if they do all of the other items in a performance matrix that we've made, they'll still have to exceed the 100-year storm because they have to provide a 100-year storm as a baseline, which we've created. Plus, they have to do impervious surfaces and permeable pavers and that kind of thing to the satisfaction of the planning board. Moreover, it's creating a retrofitting provision for homeowners or building owners who are doing substantial projects that also increase the impervious surfaces on a site, and requiring that their existing building, should they meet that threshold, has to tie into a stormwater system. So, we've had development over the past, 100 years plus, that has no stormwater, and the majority of properties do have no stormwater mitigation on them.
Yep.
And this is a way to have people be able to do minor projects, but if they're doing a significant project, they have to bring the whole property into conformance with the higher standard.
The parking
Lot
lot
coverage.
across the street,
Lot coverage.
Oh, and lot coverage. How could I forget? Yeah, sorry, I have to mention lot coverage. There is no requirement in village code right now for impervious lot coverage. This adds a requirement that you can not exceed 15% of the area of your lot with impervious surfaces.
okay, when you talk about properties that aren't improved and don't have stormwater attenuation, one would be the lot across the street.
Correct.
Hunt a lot, every drop of that water goes into the the stormwater collection system somewhere in the village of Mamaroneck.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I just want to point that out because people have opined that would contribute to flooding, but any building that's built there, especially if it's built to the requirements of this law, would have a vast improvement from what is there now.
Yeah, and any type of development, should this law be approved, that's in a commercial district, would be subject to green infrastructure requirements outlined.
Right.
In the performance matrix.
Which that would be.
So it would, if this were adopted as proposed, it would be above the 100-year storm requirement.
Yep.
In any circumstance.
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for clearing that up. So this is on for tonight's agenda. Everybody fine with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Can I put something on there?
No. Sorry, it has to be noticed and it has to be.
Got it.
They would, they would hang us. I need a motion to adjourn.
So.
Notice.
Second.
I'll note it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead. That was practice.
Yep.
Good evening, and welcome to the Village of Mamaroneck regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for October 10th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Aye.
Allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, there are two emergency exits. One on my right where the police officers are standing, and actually a brand new one on my left. Please, if you have a cell phone, put it on mute. Thank you, and I'd like a motion to open the meeting, please.
Second,
So moved.
Well, we said it backwards, right? So go ahead. So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, Manny and Lou, turn your,
There's one.
Manny's
No.
on.
turn, if you gotta vote, I gotta hear you.
You're right, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Got it.
We have Manny and Manny Rollins and Lou Young are participating via Zoom. And it's all been properly noticed. Okay, first item is a presentation by the Village of Mamaroneck Police Department, the donation to the Elks. Oh, I'm sorry, by the Elks, the donation to the police department. I'm sorry. Vinny, please.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce myself. Yeah, my name is Vincent Keck. I'm the exalted ruler of the Mamaroneck Elks Lodge 1457. We're down on Post Road behind Mamaroneck Diner. It's not a hotel, that's our clubhouse. Okay. In the interest of giving, our motto with the Elks Club is Elks Care, Elks Share. Every year we step out to local organizations, EMS, police department, to find out what resources, where we can help, and what they need. And this year it's our pleasure to present the police department with a check of $2,000 that's going to be used for personal use tourniquets that the office will carry on their, and hope they never have to use them. But if they save one life, the world worth it. Officer Brassett.
I just want to say thank you to the Elks. In the past, we did some other events and we help out, and they donated to the department. We did a pamphlet, a trifold pamphlet on vaping. Because a few years ago, vaping hit us pretty hard, and we didn't really have much info about it, so we actually made one up. We had a health teacher from the school come to the gym at St. Vito's and had a pretty decent turnout. So this year they reached out and we were trying to figure out what, we could use, and we have used, unfortunately, the tourniquets, and we have saved lives by being able to apply them. I was going to get one today, but you have one on you, Nikki? So we all carry them, so we don't want to really open it up, but just it's a little strap. This looks like it opens up and you're able to apply it. We even train to apply it to ourselves if necessary. And this little thing's maybe $40, and it's saved lives on car accidents, bad cuts, or regular accidents, saws, any type of thing. So we just want to say thank you to the Elks, and that's what this money is going to go for, is to buy more tourniquets.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keck. Thank you, Detective Maresca. What we're going to do is we're going to skip to the village manager's report because we're going to change the order this next year to make that the first up, because the village manager has some news to report.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have a little information from me, and then earlier today, the state sent us a PowerPoint, which Dan has, that will demonstrate some of the help and assistance that the state can provide during rain events, flood events.
Can you make sure the mic is on?
Yeah, it's on.
No.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay. So Dan has part of the presentation, I have part of the report, but I do want to acknowledge our entire village staff for the work that they did during the last flood that we had. It was not, we had 3/4 of the rain that we had during Ida, but far less damage, and that's no consolation for the people who still lost quite a bit. But unfortunately for us, we're getting very good at these things and dealing with that. But tomorrow, our team, our emergency operations team, will have an after action meeting, so we can see some of the areas that we need to improve on. Earlier, well, actually it was last week, I may have sent this to the Board of Trustees, and I can distribute it at their request to the other boards if they want. But this is the board showing what we've been doing to try to mitigate flood on our end. The Army Corps will be in the village on October 20th for a site visit at Ward Avenue Bridge. And then they will be here on the 23rd, discussing the 90% and the process of removing the Ward Avenue Bridge. So that's been set up. As far as us, the village sustained $1.7 million worth of damage. I've submitted that to the county. In order for FEMA to come in and provide some relief, typically in these events, they would provide 75% relief to the municipalities and counties and cities that were impacted. The county of Westchester has to hit a $4.4 million threshold, which I believe will not be a problem hitting. And then the state of New York has to hit a $35+ million. So it's 35 and change $1 million threshold. I'm not sure what the city looks like. We all have seen the news. We all have seen flooding at JFK in New York City and all the subways. I suspect that we'll get to 35 million, but I just don't know. I'm stronger in my belief that we'll get to 4.4 million in Westchester. But if FEMA, if the president does declare the area for FEMA relief, it will probably be 75% of what we've had to put out during the rescue and recovery efforts.
So the state's number is the cumulative, it's village to county. It's not that the county doesn't need 4 million of county damage, it's 4 million within the county.
4 million within the county, and then that goes, so every county then
Go
goes
to the
to the
state.
state number, yeah. That's how we do it, right?
Okay.
We bring it down to that.
So you have to meet two thresholds, both the county and the state.
Yeah, if you miss one but not the other, so if our county got $500,000 worth of damage, but the entire state got 60 million, we would not be,
Right.
we would not qualify. All right, so you have to hit both, thresholds in order for that. So it may take, unlike Ida, which everyone knew right away, and Senator Schumer and Gillibrand and everyone else came down because they knew the threshold was easily achieved. This one could take 6 to 8 weeks for that to be determined. So we still don't know. As far as trying to provide relief outside in the vestibule, in front of the fishbowl, I put some flyers there in Spanish and in English for people to get some information from county and state resources. And we have been very involved with the Department of Social Services in the county because we have 27 displays record. We have 14 adults and 13 children. So they're currently being housed. A few here in Mamaroneck, but mostly in White Plains. Right? And for the information that I've received from our building inspector, it's really a slow go as far as their apartment or dwellings being renovated. So they may be out of their home for a period of time. Dan has the PowerPoint. It is substantial, so if you want to just go through the first view and then the last view.
Okay.
All right, that would be good, and then we'll post this online, so people can go through it on their own. You got a mic, Dan?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So this is the PowerPoint presentation that we received from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation called ARG, I just flooded, now what? And it's just a guy going over like the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 1, returning home after the flood. Step 2, now what? Step 3, make sure it doesn't happen again. And then there's an appendix with a lot of resources. Just some quick facts about New York State. Every county in New York State, which I believe is well over 6 has experienced flooding over the past 12 years. And as you can look at, see from the map, the counties in red are the ones that have had 50 or more floods within their county borders, which includes.
Dan?
Yes?
We can't on Zoom see the presentation.
Okay, oh, let me.
Sorry, I just want to be able to make sure I'm following as well.
Okay, give me a second. Share this.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, give me one.
Perfect.
Okay, let me know if you still are able to see this. You're able to see this?
You got it.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, so every county in the New York metropolitan area, all over the state, Western New York, Southern Tier, Capital Region, it does not discriminate, where in the state you are. Step one, after the flood, how to return home safely, which is kind of basic, but you know, the roads have to be open for you to get home. In Mamaroneck, it can be several hours to several days for roads to be reopened based on the type of disaster that we experience. Whether it be flooding, which tends to be, the waters tend to recede a lot quicker, but you know, if there's a hurricane or a wind event, if anyone's experienced that, can be days and weeks before we're able to get those roads open based on our ability to get in touch with Con Ed and have them do what they need to do. If you see the water, turn around, don't drown. It's little as 6 inches of water can make your car float away. I know that we have had, you know, I think in a storm back in the late 90s, we had a fatality in the village.
92.
92, someone who ignored all the warning signs. You know, both the literal signs and, you know, what he could.
At Hampshire.
At Hampshire. Before you get home, make sure that everyone's safe in your family. Let your family know that you're safe. Once you get home, you need to contact your insurance agent. And the big one, take pictures, document. It's actually good to take pictures of your home and it's in a pre-disaster state if you can, just so you can establish a benchmark to show what the before and after conditions. One of the recommendations is if your house is damaged, get as close as you safely can to document the damage. If you have a room inside the home that's damaged, take pictures from multiple angles to document the damage. You'll keep accurate records, so know what you're spending to recover. Also make sure that access to your documents is safe. Things like your flood insurance policies, make sure you have access to those. An insurance adjuster will need to assess the damage. You also have to contact your local building official, in this case, the building department, to ensure permit requirements are met. Oftentimes after disasters, we waive permit fees, but we still require building permits because we need to be able to document the work that's being done. We have to inspect that work to make sure that it complies with the New York State Building Code, to make sure that the occupants are safe in the homes that they are going to. You can also contact your state hazard mitigation office regarding programs and funding to protect your building from future damage. You can also contact the village. We can talk to you about some of those grant programs that are out there for elevations, acquisitions, programs of that nature. When you return home, watch for down power lines. Turn off your gas. Oftentimes, especially with gas, those lines may be compromised, but you can't see it because they're underground. Don't wade in floodwater. Don't use open flames in that area because if there's a gas leak, you're going to ignite that. Be aware of the risk of electrocution. If your home was flooded and your outlets and electrical service may have been compromised, that's something that is a problem that is going to exist through the entire house. Hire an expert to check your gas and equipment. Most importantly, clean and disinfect everything that became wet. You know, the opportunity for mold to grow is omnipresent. And oftentimes that can be as damaging as the actual floodwaters. Check with your local officials to learn whether your community's water supply is safe to drink. Thankfully, you know, we are part of the New York City water system. Our water sources are hundreds of miles away, and the New York City spends billions of dollars to protect it and keep it safe from pollution. As I mentioned, document. Debris removal, if you have to remove debris from your house, wear protective clothing, eye masks, or say eye coverings, masks, gloves. You don't want to have your skin touch some of these materials, which again, may have been exposed to mold. Be careful when moving items. And a waterlogged item is much heavier than a dry item. Throw out anything, any food that could be spoiled. If you need to pump out your basement, it's better to pump it out slowly over the course of a long time, because just as the pressure that can develop inside your house from the water exerting pressure on the walls, you need to slowly dissipate that so that you don't get cracks in your foundation. Drying out, you have to make sure everything is dry before you can start repairs. Who's going to come and talk to you? Your insurance agents. If you have flood insurance, your insurance agent will have an adjuster. From the government, your local government will typically be boots on the ground. We'll have building inspectors who may inspect the property. We'll have other staff who can talk to you about what programs are out there, what options there are, and what you can do. Always make sure the people you're speaking to have an ID like this. Unfortunately, when you have disasters, you have opportunists and scammers who will try to make a buck. You'll also see a lot of volunteers from churches and not-for-profits trying to help. Luckily, we had volunteers from Life Church who came to help with our temporary shelter, which we had here after the storm. And unfortunately, there are gawkers who, just like you have rubberneckers, they like to see disaster, unfortunately. Yeah.
Can you move to 63 and go over some of the resources so that they're on the camera?
Additional resources.
For those needing help.
Yep. Low interest loans to property owners. You're eligible to receive funding from the Small Business Administration. Usually it'll be loans at very low interest rates, which you can get to help repair your damage. There's general assistance from local agencies like the United Way, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army. They want to help, and they will usually have a tremendous amount of volunteers and volunteer resources that you can take advantage of. New York State Department of Agriculture, I think that's not as much agricultural resources in the Village of Mamaroneck, but it's an option. The New York State Office of Emergency Management, they can find information on a variety of programs that are available to you as residents of the state of New York and property owners. Again, the village staff can also talk to you about some of these grant programs. Just as I mentioned, scammers before, the Consumer Protection Office of the New York Attorney General. In addition to scammers, you'll see price gouging, which is another major problem that we see in the aftermath of disasters. For employment, the New York State Department of Labor, there are also your local Department of Social Services may be able to provide assistance. In the case of the county, that's the County DSS, Department of Social Services. Insurance, this was a big issue that we saw after Ida. Insurance, your private insurance is regulated by the New York State Department of Financial Services. I personally had to, give the information to probably a dozen people in the aftermath of Ida because they were having problems with their insurance company, and the DFS can help bridge that gap and get you the help you need. Mental health, elderly and disabilities. We have the Center for Disease Control Prevention and the New York State Office of Temporary Disaster Assistance. One of the things you need to understand when you're recovering from a disaster and you're responsible for other people, you also have to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of other people. Then there's a variety of programs out there.
So like I said, we'll post this online.
Yeah.
People can read through the entire thing. It's extensive and
Yeah.
Dan did a great job trying to summarize it.
Yes,
The one thing that I reported on last meeting, I'll report on again, is that we did speak to the supervisor and the administrator at the town of Rye. And we are going in to dredge the Beaver Swamp Brook area in and around the culverts for 200 feet around the culverts. And then Gino, who has a terrible cold, is going to talk about our expansion of our permits for a little bit. Thanks.
So we are requesting our consultant.
Big left.
I'm requesting our consultant, excuse me, Ben Backer from DEI to incorporate additional areas dredging permit. That's just to be the Rockland Avenue Bridge. Be added to these areas so we can dredge within 200 feet north and south of the bridge to get rid of a lot of the accumulated debris.
Yeah, the larger and then the title.
Yeah, so we're also have been preparing a proposal for us to incorporate the dredging of the larger areas. What was first provided or proposed to the village to incorporate a lot of the tidal areas in the Beaver Swamp Creek area.
Yeah.
And the Beaver Swamp Brook tidal areas.
And the bridge behind Continental View,
Yeah.
we're talking with the town about widening that opening.
Correct. That's kind of one of the first choke points in the Beaver Swamp drainage area. And that'll be also part of the resiliency study for the Beaver Swamp and Brentwood Brook study. That the culvert all the way up Short Street Bridge, and then the bridge behind the Rhinebeck High School.
Right.
So we could see from our camera, at the Rhinebeck High School that 11-foot opening at the bridge easily backs up all of that water right into Tulip Tree and back up into the school. And in fact, you can see that the school, on our cameras, water was flowing down pretty well, but then it started to back up. Hit the choke point behind Continental View that causes the problem.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that conclude tonight's report?
Yes,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Thanks, Dan, for helping.
And Dan, thank you very much for summarizing that weighty information.
70 page quick guide.
Yes, you summarized it. The next up is communication to the board. So it's a 3-minute time limit. Please avail yourself.
Good evening, Barney Camarda, FMAC, speaking for myself. I'd like to comment on some Facebook page, flooding and the village efforts on flooding. In your Facebook post, I'm quoting you when you said, "If folks don't like affordable housing, I wish they would just be honest about the fact instead of manufacturing a tissue of lies to hide their true motives." I'm gonna be honest, I don't like affordable housing. For 3 reasons. Takes away from the flood effort, which you say that you constantly work on, which I disagree. 2, the flood victims have waited decades for studies and fundings, but not one study for affordable housing. 3, affordable housing doesn't help the residents that live here. Affordable housing helps John and Jane Doe, not the residents, because you can't legally target it because it's for Mamaroneck residents. In Westchester County, you have to put your name on a list, get in the lottery system to get selected. So you can't guarantee that all the units are rewarded to Mamaroneck residents unless you rig the system. Please don't shame us because because we oppose your thinking for affordable housing. The board says things like, you're racist. Don't use affordable housing as your enemy. These are the needs of the community. This is not a need, this is a want. You need to weigh the options, okay? Help a handful at best of Mamaroneck residents, or help the 700 plus residents and businesses that got and still will get flooded. This is not, this will not happen with the path that you are on and leading. The biggest need of the community is flood control, and affordable housing is taking away from that effort by taking valuable time from the village planner and the village attorney. The board tells me we can do both. Sorry, but you can't, and it was proven with this last week's flood. I've said this in the past, this board is hanging its head on the ACE project. I will say that the ACE project is not a bad thing, it's a good thing, but your lack of urgency is a bad thing. The ACE project is going to take years to finish, and we will probably get flooded again before its completion. So why are we not aggressively looking into phase 2 parallel mitigation? Like the dam and reservoir, or both, putting temporary emergency pumps in Columbus Park until this project is tried and tested. The FMAC has to be involved much, much more than it is now. These are the needs for this community, not these other things that you say. I have told the mayor that he is getting some things accomplished, which I'll give you credit for, a job that should be done. But he can do more, and you can do a lot more. The ACE plan will take many years to be completed. With changing weather patterns, we cannot sit on our hands and rely on the ACE project alone. Phase 2 has to start now with more input from the FMAC before it's too late.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Things have to be fixed or changed around here, or we don't have a Mamaroneck anymore. This is not the friendly village. This is the broken village.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Being honest about your plan for mobile housing, but I
Do not agree that this board is not taking flooding seriously. We're taking it extremely seriously. Go ahead, Laura.
Laura Body, traffic commissioner, speaking as a resident and as a representative of WNF. I'm not gonna win any awards what I'm about to say, so bear with me. I have a lot of thank yous. I'm gonna bypass that because it could take 3 paragraphs, and I don't have that time. Mamaroneck is drowning. Flooding isn't improved, not at all. Any statements to the contrary is a farce, and I wish it wasn't, but it is, and that's the truth. What baseline of data are there to back that statement at this point, 0 to none, not by the waterline in my house, personally. Prove us wrong, with actions and results. Words, we've had enough. On 9/29, the Sheldrake River reached its capacity and jumped its banks again at great speed. Quickly, its water rose, engulfing Washingtonville, its homes, family, and places of business, a scene only too familiar. The Sheldrake banks are breaching and reaching farther than they have ever in history. The town of Mamaroneck and Scarsdale, all upcountry waterways, relieving themselves of their floodwaters, opening their floodgates and leaving the village of Mamaroneck to bear the brunt. We have no real plan, no intermunicipal control, communication, or collaboration. We have no real plan whatsoever on the horizon, not that I see, not that I feel. What are we doing and what are we waiting for? Another disaster? It was here last week. We have come close several times in the past few years. Are you so disconnected that you're not scared? I know I am. You're responsible for our safety. You took office to listen to the voice of the people. Start listening today.
Yes.
The village of Mamaroneck is spinning its wheels and making no real tangible progress, just speaking words, spinning words. We can't keep plugging holes rather than fix the issues or try hard to get close enough that we can possibly see the light. Our village cannot hang its hats only on the ACE project. We need more. We need real parallel mitigation that can help make a substantial difference in the lives and livelihood of this village. Last Friday, 9/29, reminiscent of Ida, the rivers, streams, and streets and sewers were overpowered and nowhere to go. Again, 2 years post Ida, and the Sheldrake waters reached more than 3/4 in its measure on Waverly Center and Madison. It reached its level point and began to make its left, just like Ida did, and it worked its way through our homes again, leaving more than 5 feet of water in homes and businesses again, leaving us again at a devastating loss. Flood improvement hasn't decreased the loss. That was sheer luck in the hand of God that it stopped. One more hour would have exceeded the catastrophic loss, far exceeding Ida. Our home on 170 Washington Street, the Sheldrake, made its way right to our foundation. It was at least 2 feet of water before it started to enter our home. This has happened 3 times since Ida.
Thank you.
I'm not done, and I have lost time, money. I have one more paragraph, and I will leave. Our village has not dedicated the time and attention that is needed and is required to manage the balance of forever issue of the village flooding. It will take a village along with the county state to formulate a truly productive parallel mitigation plan. One that is reachable and one that will institute the level of mitigation, control, and function that this village needs and requires. Our village must budget and create a flooding department comprised of experts, hydrologists, and a floodplain manager, engineer, and a foreman to manage the magnitude and scope of work that is required to support this monumentous task at hand. Coordinating with municipalities, town, county, and state government to ensure that we are the poster child for flooding, its prevention and control now. Our village has not been laser focused on flooding and its prevention and eradication. It cannot handle the balance of workload of running a village and producing tangible, workable solutions to fight and control all things flooding. I challenge this board to recognize its shortcomings and move forward at warp speed to make the necessary changes to support the needed that is far due and past due. Make the moves before it's too late for all of us, before our village and our lives are invaluable. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand.
The anxiety, I understand. Well, you can say that, but I do. I didn't interrupt people when they talk. Please don't quote from the audience. I didn't. Please don't quote from the audience. We have spent $2.7 million in the past year and a half on parallel flood mitigation. We have done a lot of work. If any of you are friends with people in DPW, I ask you to talk to them and talk to them about what's been going on in this community. I understand the frustration, but it's not fair to say we haven't done anything, and it's definitely not fair to say we don't care. But that being said, please continue.
My name is Jimmy Abadi, 170 Washington Street. We've been flooded twice in the last 2 years. And I'm not gonna say you didn't do anything, we're not saying that. This is bigger than just you guys up here, it's bigger than Jerry. And, we've been asking for you guys to really push and get aggressive. That's what we're asking for. And I don't feel that you have, and I don't think anybody feels that way. We keep flooding, and I understand this was not just Mamaroneck that flooded. But this is where we live, and you represent us, and we need you guys to be more aggressive. That's what we're asking for. The other municipalities, we need somehow, Tom, I don't know how you do it, but somehow, as a board, we need to get with the other municipalities, get together and figure something out. We can't keep waiting. We're waiting for the ACE project. They told us 4 years. We've been flooded twice already. Now, some of us and our neighbors have been flooded a lot worse than others, and they lost everything again. And we're still sitting here talking about, we spent this much, nothing's happening. And we are frustrated. And people are worried. People have children. People live on the first floor, they're flooding. So I guess what we're saying is, this is not about a put down. This is not about you haven't done anything. It's not enough is what we're saying. And we need more from you guys. We really do. And I expect you guys to be more aggressive, go after the other municipalities, go after the county, get the money, do whatever we have to do. Dredging, obviously you're trying, that's not gonna fix everything. The cameras that you bought, they're not doing anything. They're not gonna help us. I knew that was coming over before any camera could have told me that. So that does nothing for us to save us. And as far as Dan, what you were just talking about, all we ever hear is after the flood, what we're doing. how we're gonna save, what safety, that's not enough. It's not enough. And we've had enough. We've been doing this forever. And I just think that you guys can step up honestly and try to be a little more aggressive. You know, I don't know what to tell you to do because that's not my field. What I do know, my field is security, my family, my neighbors, and it's not happening. I've been doing this since the seventies. So I guess what I'm saying is we're asking you to please try to find another avenue. There's a few homes that are vacant right on Plaza. I think somebody could look into purchasing those homes and doing something with those properties other than always trying to build on them. Maybe we can make big dry wells, I don't know. They're huge properties. Maybe we can do something with them, so when that water does come up, it doesn't go into our neighbors' homes. And my backyard and into my home and everybody else that lives in the Mary. That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
We have reached out to the county and we're hoping to have discussions with the communities around us, but thank you.
Daniela, Florida, 904 Ralph Avenue. First, I just want to say thank you for what you've been doing in this village. But I have to just point out a few things. Dan, I appreciate you reading all of that, but as I sit here and reflect for the 15-20 minutes that I've been here, or half hour, whatever it is, I don't need to be told something that I've been through 4 times. I'll go and read that myself. I don't think that it was I think it was a waste of time. And quite frankly, I think it's insulting for people who have been flooded. That's my take on that, okay?
Daniela, that's on me, I guess. You should be reflecting that.
Okay, I will reflect that towards you, Jerry. The other thing is, have you ever had a panic attack? Has anybody on this board had an actual panic attack? Because I have. And you know what? I had one 2 times in a row in the last 4 weeks. Why? Because of the flooding, okay? Have you ever had one?
Yes.
Okay, you know what it feels like. If it's not easy, okay? And it doesn't feel good. And it has to stop. Because not only was I having panic attacks, but my children, I couldn't get to them. Okay? I couldn't find my children. They were out in the street. They had to run because nobody could pick them up because we were told to stay off the streets. The floods came up. Why didn't you help close the schools? What were you thinking? Really, what were you thinking? My kids could have been killed. All these other kids could have been killed. You cannot do that. We gotta do something about this village. You have to. This is enough. I've had enough. You have to do something before somebody dies. This is no way to live. I've lived through this for 4 floods. I'm not doing this anymore. You have got to listen. Get through. This has to get through to your heads. You have got to be persistent. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. And don't put affordable housing in front of people who are living in this environment that don't have a quality of life. Please, I'm begging you because I'm sick enough. I don't need to have another panic attack or not know where my children are again. The kids were in the streets. They could all died.
Point out, we have no control
over the schools and how they let out. And what we did was we tried to keep lanes open to evacuate the children. And the police department worked very hard on that. And the schools did not at all ask us for coordination or ask us for help until
we reached out.
And we reached out to them, but until they decided to do it, and then they called us at kind of the height of the flood and said, we need help now. And it was difficult because we were also doing rescues at that time, but we helped them out. Yes, sir.
David Sarlo, 609 Wood Street. First, I'd like to thank the board, Gino and James Barney for all their help that they've given us during all this flooding. However, today I was told that the village backhoe truck is broken. You guys gotta maintain what you have until everything gets fixed. That's all. I'm not criticizing anybody, but you gotta maintain the infrastructure that's in place until everything gets fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. I've just been, I don't know who told you that, sir, but the village manager said that truck was out today work.
So he came to my house, he said it's broken.
Yeah.
The sewer guy came to my house, he said it's broken.
The back truck was out today.
Yes.
Okay, but I don't want to get the argument, but he's saying it's working, so go ahead.
Anthony, 4136 West Coast Road. Dan, I'd like to thank you. Mark is done on Barry Avenue. The kid today did a magnificent job. I'm back here about the dirt in the thruway. The thruway authority in the northbound, when you get off the thruway, they now made that I don't know, a bunch of fences, looks like a dump. It used to be concave, used to be all green grass. And the throughways come there, put item 4 on there, and the water just keeps on running right off of that. On the other side, they started by filling it in slowly. It was a swamp. And then they decided that they were gonna go, I guess the fill came from Worcester. And when you go there, there's a mountain of fill there. I don't know what's been tested. If anybody, if it's a dumping ground, America's becoming a dumping ground. Go ahead, no, but we're a dumping ground.
Immediately after you came, we started working, we had a meeting that week with the board, and they heard us, Now, what I need is a little bit of force from the state, because the state manages and has maybe more authority than this village over the authority, the throughway authority, right? So, and I listen to you, I speak to you properly, I speak to you respectfully when I see you, okay? And I heard you exactly what you said. And we had a meeting, many of the people in this room were on that meeting. And we mentioned it. And we worked on what we needed to do.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I just want to be heard.
I agree, Anthony.
And the person that did that should be fired. They should be. I wish the state thruway authority would come down here and look at this. And as far as these people being flooded out, I have empathy for you, Joe. You know, Clinton came down, Schumer came down. They all come down here for years and years and years it's going on. And I pray this board is the one that brings it in, that brings the Corps of Army engineers in here and dredges it. The only way to really stop or slow down is, I don't think you're ever gonna end the flood. But you have to flume from the Boston Post Road to Columbus Park and dredge the reservoir. We talk about dumping, all that silt, okay, has come from up county, and they've just kept on bringing the silt in. They haven't taken it out.
Yet,
And so,
and yet
I hope you guys are the ones to bring it in and get the Corps of Army engineers to do the job.
And yet, Anthony, the stuff that we pulled out of the rivers, we have to dump. We're not gonna bank cast it, we're not gonna put it back in the rivers. We're paying to dump that dirt that we took out of the rivers with our own guys and our contractors. Because it doesn't make any sense to put it back up against the banks like we used to do years ago.
These people have been told for years and years and years. And it's gotta end. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
And Mr. Cordy, the Army Corps of Engineers is scheduled to be started in December. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sue Duchesne, Stony Brook. First I want to thank the trustee Lucas and Sharon Torres, and the flood committee, for coming out to Short Street and talking to my neighbors and about the Beaver Swamp Brook and letting us show them the problems in the area. And, that camera, I kind of figured it was in the woods somewhere. It didn't help us. We, at Beaver Swamp Brook, we judge, we go to Short Street and we look at the level of the water. How high is the brook? Where is the water? So trying to figure out where this camera is in the woods, it didn't help us. I mean, I looked, the water's there, and the next I see the water spread out, but that's not telling me how high the brook is. I have to go out in the middle of the night, go check with my flashlight, like my neighbors. That's how we judge that area. So maybe next time the camera could be moved to a better area so that we could see it.
That's not a bad idea.
Thank you.
Right, so,
And then I just lost my train of
I'm sorry.
and so now with the dredging of that Beaver Swamp Brook, that I do want that area to be dredged. I want it to be better for us. But I have a grave concern about those walls. And I really feel that you cannot dredge until you fix some of those walls. Some of those walls on the other side of Short Street, some people have put big heavy boulders on the walls and the walls are literally caving in. You can't. I just have a big concern. I really think you need to look at those walls and what you can just kind of throw up and fix before you just try to go and dredge those, because I think that it's not a good idea. And I have to say that the last couple storms now, you know, putting these big booms out that we bought, filling it with water to stop the water, you know, getting the sump pumps ready before the water comes, sleepless nights, just checking, where's the water, when's it coming, where's the water? And you know, my sister said to me, Sue, you can't live like that. There's just no way to live. And you know, she's right.
Connor Washington Street. I wasn't planning on talking tonight, but just, hearing my neighbors. I know you guys are trying, I really do. I'm not gonna say you haven't done anything, but guys, it's 2 years post Ida. I know we're never gonna be 100% dry, but we gotta do better. We gotta escalate this. We gotta do something, put in some temporary measures until we can do something more. Listen, PTSD is real. And like my neighbors, the sound of rain makes me want to vomit. And I'm not kidding you. I was up the night of September 29th, the 28th, when it was raining. And I can't tell you how I felt. We spent 24 hours, me and my brother and my husband, 24 hours straight pumping water out of our home. We can't live like this. I paid $20,000 in taxes to live here. I need better. My neighbors need better. There's people in this room who are still displaced. There's people who still have no electricity. We go on with our day-to-day life after these floods. We don't. The flood victims don't. We have to do something better. Please, guys. I don't know what it is. Like Jim said, I'm not an engineer. I don't even know what to tell you. But please, think outside of the box. Please, we can't live like this anymore. We have neighbors who, after the last flood, September 29th, packed their bags and are moving out. They're selling their house, they're gone. They're fed up. And it's a young couple, they haven't been here long. But guess what? I've lived here my entire life. I don't want to leave. I want you to help me be able to stay here and live in peace. PTSD is real.
I agree.
Good evening, Anna Bianco, 261 Madison Street. And I am, again, along with many of us here, a flood victim. And I've just seen it over and over again. And every time I get that phone call from the village, I say, oh God, here we go again. We're surrounded by water every time it rains. I have a home next to mine, which I did speak with, and hopefully something's being done about it. It's been over 2 years now through Ida. It's been abandoned. It's been a shelter for homeless people. It's been a breeding ground for rats. Now it's been flooded over and over. Last week, again flooded, and there's water accumulated inside the house. And even when the people who pass by, people helping out,
Life Church or one of those groups?
no, anyway, it was an organization, and they went by there and they said,
Fuller.
oh my God, it's reeks in there. That place needs something that can really be done about it. It's 265 Madison. And it needs to, I think that if you get rid of, if you raise it or something, put something there, maybe the water can accumulate or put large tanks. I'm not sure what the right answer is. But, and also the footbridge. The footbridge is now, I was looking at the camera, recently I haven't because it's been out, but during the flood last week, there was so much debris that accumulated and it just collected, and then the water just started to back up from all this debris. That's the footbridge on Center Avenue. Thank you. And one more thing. Affordable housing is great, but I think if you're making a big mistake putting it on Hunter. That place right now, every time we get phone calls, please take, if it rains or flood, take your cars up, park it on Hunter. There's no place for us to go. No place to take our cars, I should say. But we have been using Hunter a lot. That place should be made a big parking place area for the village, because even when you drive there during the weekend, there's no place to park in the village, and it's a shame because you could go around and around. Even though you want to, enter the stores and support them, you can't because there's no place to park. I just go back home. I know you're trying, but you need to try a little bit harder. Maybe think about some of these things that I just mentioned now. Thank you.
I just want to clarify one thing about Hunter Lot. The RFP requires that they replace the parking that's there. So just.
Possibly in the interim.
It'll be for.
No.
The finished product.
The amount of spaces are gonna stay the same. Go ahead.
Grand Terrace. First, want to echo what everybody has said here today, that your priorities are clearly skewed. All right. Now, to most of these people in the room, this is a new thing. Well, like not since Ida at least. But about 8 months ago, I sit here and told you that this is a problem. Now you have a little poster board about flood mitigation. Isn't that cute? Talk about timing. This is a slap in the face to all these residents that have spent years dealing with these problems. And a little background, I'm an engineer and I have a master's in quantitative management. It doesn't take an engineer to understand how to deal with flooding, okay? And if you don't know, there are engineers out there that do. You pick up the phone, you call them 2 years ago, not now. Not in December. This is bizarre. I don't like getting upset. I'm sorry, but it's infuriating to sit here week after week and hear that you're gonna do something. And then send out a mailer that you are doing things, that you're fixing the floods, and that you are fighting against developers and the densification of our city, which is false, because 8 months ago, you voted on a bill to change the zoning laws, to decrease the required open space for C2 and other mixed use lots. What do you think that's going to do? Increase density or decrease density? Not rocket science again, but you voted on it. And it is on record. And you have the nerve to tell the whole town that you're doing the exact opposite. And then have a fancy poster board here when all these people are suffering. It is really insulting, not only to me, but to everybody else here. And to all the people at home, anybody else that doesn't have the time and effort to make it here at 8 o'clock at night just to listen to this. Because they're probably at home, popping out their houses, calling people, seeing if they have spare couches, if they have spare beds, if they have spare clothes for their kids. who barely made it home. And to say that you don't have any control over the school, you do. You don't control the school, but you can coordinate with them. It is a coordinated effort. You pick up the phone again. Hey, listen, you know what? Maranic Avenue School floods a lot. It flooded last time. Hey, we're getting really, our cameras that we spent how much money on that do nothing, could have looked at and told them, hey, look, the water's coming up. We gotta close the school. It shouldn't have even been opened. But we don't use the cameras that you spent money on. And where's the $2.7 million going to? 200 yards worth of dirt. That's it. That's what we have to show for it. Does anybody else have anything to show for it besides flooded basements, lost items, lost lives? What's going to be next?
Thank you. Going to correct one thing, the change to the zoning.
Did not at all increase the density of that. That is a misnomer. It explained. Well, I'm sorry, you're 3 minutes up, sir. It's been explained. You know what? First of all, please do not say I'm lying.
I'm explaining. Just because you disagree with the explanation doesn't mean
That's
it's
just
lying.
it's in black and white. As a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's right there. Ask him.
He explained it to us. Please do not call off from the audience. That's what the microphone is for.
Freedom.
No, it's not.
There's rules to everything.
Yeah.
But
let me continue. The change that we made to the zoning for the Hunter lot
did not increase density at all. What happened was there was a part of the code that was never ever enforced and was unenforceable because there was another part of the code that superseded it. Mr. Sposino, am I wrong? No. Could you give Mr. Sposino the mic?
Mike doesn't work, so
The provision you're talking about wasn't enforced. And.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Sorry. The provision you're talking about. was
Okay,
not-
mic is on.
Speak louder.
The provision you're talking about is not.
Could you please let him talk?
The provision you're talking to the mayor, yes, but the provision you're talking about was not enforced because it wasn't conflicting with another provision of the code. And it didn't effectively, the change does not effectively increase anything.
Thank you.
That's lies. It's a lie. I'm not done with lies, but listen to me.
No,
You
please.
can't
No,
say that.
You cannot call up from the audience. There's a gentleman here waiting to speak. You disagree, and that's fine.
Yes, yes, sir.
Josh Leonard, the Grant Terrace. So. Besides these people, poor people begging and pleading for your help. I just want to say one thing tonight. When you go home and you put your head on your pillow. I want you to think about them, but I also want you to think about this. I have a funeral business. I see families every day in tragedy. I understand the value of human life, how fragile nature is. Essentially, what you're saying is, in not being aggressive with the flood mitigation and pouring every dollar that you have extra and that you can into helping these people in an aggressive manner, is you effectively saying that there is a value on their life. And that value is extremely low. You're not doing anything, and they're coming up here and they're crying to you and pleading with you. Does that make you feel powerful, Mr. Mayor? Does it? You don't have an answer for that?
I'm not gonna get dragged into this.
Go ahead, finish your comments.
I finished my comments. I think you understand where I'm coming from.
I do.
That's for you to think about
I
tonight.
understand completely. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Getting to the agenda. There are no public hearings tonight. First item up is order to bills. Item 2A, if you're following along. Budget amendment for Ophelia. Jared, can you talk about what we're doing here, what we're doing with the money?
Yeah. Fine. Mayor, item 2A is to fund general accounts and funding for the remnants of Ophelia. The rain that we received and the flood event that we received where we had to rescue people and provide recovery efforts. What we do is we section it off so that when we do the FEMA application, that we have everything in one account to be able to expedite the reimbursement that they provide us. That's what we're doing now.
Okay, thank you. So we're taking $1 million from the general fund and putting it toward items to pay for the recovery from Ophelia.
Correct. That's the
Insurance.
recovery.
Okay, I need a motion? Yeah.
I'll make a motion, but I have a question. So, we don't really have, I mean, much choice. A lot of the money's already been spent because, you know, we had an emergency and we had to clean it up.
Correct.
And as you explained earlier, there is a chance that we'll get 75% back because of FEMA. So, I guess the only good news about pandemic is we really learned how to keep records so that we can bill back when there's a FEMA declaration.
FEMA experts.
Yeah, which is
Awful.
it's awful, but we're glad that you have figured this out. And I just want to be mindful of the fact that there are a lot of things we need to do in the village and a lot of things we want to do in the village. And some of the things we need to do, we may not want to do, and some of the things we want to do, we may not be able to afford to do. But this is $1 million that we didn't anticipate. And I think we have to really think about how we claw back that $1 million. And I'm not saying I know how to do it, but be mindful of the fact that we can't just keep going back to that reserve fund
Right, so
endlessly.
You've clawed back in years past and we continue to claw back year after year. When we exceed revenue and come in less on expenses, our fund balance continues to stay healthy. And what this is basically a portion of that fund balance that the people have already paid to help us with the rescue and recovery. What we get from FEMA is typically significant compared to other communities, but in some storms, we get 100% recovery. In this storm, we're probably at the 75%.
And the money goes back into the.
If we're lucky.
Straight into the general fund, yeah.
And the general fund over the course of the last few years has been growing.
Continues to grow. When I first got here, it was 13 million, it's 18 million now.
Yeah. And I know that we've gotten insurance money back, we've gotten FEMA money back, we're waiting for money to come back. But I just want to be mindful that this is money we didn't have any choice about spending.
I understand.
We're taking, you know, we're doing this transfer, not because we're spending more money, but because it makes it easier to account to try and get it back.
I think if we were listening that the people are saying this is precisely what they want us to spend it on.
I need a motion.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you all very much. Resolution authorizing budget amendment for clerk treasurer contract services. Okay, this is taking $70,000 from appropriated fund balance to department supplies. Can you just give a little explanation?
Mayor, this is to help us with the temporary staffing issue that we have in the clerk treasurer's office. To make sure that we maintain the same level of service.
So we're down permanent employees and you're hiring a temporary.
Correct.
Yeah. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 2C, resolution authorizing funding of budget transfer for building department. Jerry?
Same situation, except in this case, building department personnel and contract services in the same parent, building department fund.
So, and I had a question which you went too quickly for, but so in the previous situation, we're having to pull it out of the reserve fund. In this situation, we're able to transfer it from the personnel budget.
Right.
But so why couldn't we pull it from the personnel budget in the clerk, if we're down staff?
Situation is different. we have some staff that. So here, we were able to move from personnel to contract services because we're actually weren't paying the personnel, so we're able to move it to, right? And the clerk treasurer also taking.
Okay, any motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 2D, it's the abstract of manual vouchers, and the manual vouchers before us is $1,263,493.77. The largest item out of this is $850,000 to the Mamaroneck Library District. This was the proceeds from a TAN, a tax anticipation note that the village took out to keep the library open and solvent. The library has come up with a plan on how to repay those monies. If the village had not have done this, the library would have shut. And that's plain and simple what would have happened. So, we took extraordinary measures, and I thank staff, especially Clerk Treasurer Fusco, for coming up with the idea of a tax anticipation note, because that was the only mechanism that we had under the law to help them out. So it looks like they're going to survive. So I'm happy about that. And I think most people in the village would be happy about that. You really don't want to live in a community without a library. I don't.
Can I ask?
Yeah, sure,
quick-
sure.
So, and the other item on this is the money we voted. That's the money that was basically in trust for LMC so they can get started. So those are the.
So the village, right, according to the other, right, we received a portion of the capital expenditure of PEG money, right? PEG money that can only be used for capital items. Approximately $740,000. Of that, we provided LMC $413,000.
Yes, so that's, and those are the two items on this.
Yeah.
And,
We're not paying that out of our fund, it's money that came in through the PEG money.
right, and we voted 2 weeks ago to disperse.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and so but I want to go back about the library because we don't, there was a proposal that the library, when we first talked about these TANs for the library, the proposal was that we would have to do they're due in a year. So it's due early in June. So we would have to keep taking out TANs in smaller and smaller increments, and the library would have to incorporate it as part of their budget and pay it back. That plan has changed based on a proposal from the village to allow the library to pay it back over a period of 3 years.
Correct.
But we just discussed it. I think we need to make clear to the library that we are going to agree to those terms because the library, as I understand it, needs to develop their budget. And so I had sent a couple of emails about that. I just want to make sure that we're committing to the library that this is okay with us.
So speaking for staff, we're on the same page as where you are right. So however, whatever mechanism you want for this to happen.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wanted. I wanted, between Augie and the village attorney to come up with the proper,
I think everybody is on the same page.
Yeah, intermunicipal agreement. I don't know what the mechanism would be. But probably an intermunicipal agreement.
Yeah, it would be an intermunicipal. We would pay off the TAN, they would give us the money over 3 years
Yeah.
with some interest, typical market rate interest. And it would be an intermunicipal where we would have a 3-year intermunicipal.
So can we try to get that for the next couple of meetings?
I think maybe for the next meeting, because the library's got to publish their budget. They have a vote in like 6 or 8 weeks, right?
You good, Bob? Oh,
Early, it's early.
Bob, we can meet with Bob next week.
Great.
All right, they're gonna work it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
I just want to make sure we.
Yeah, no, I remember you student sent that.
Okay. We have a motion on this? I need a motion.
So
I thought we did.
No, I've been told. we did.
This is for the bill.
Okay, oh, for the bill, okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Next up, manual of, this is the abstract of audited vouchers. And tonight's grand total is $595,390. Any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I didn't get this until just when we got here
Yeah,
because it
nobody got
wasn't in the packet, so I don't feel like I feel like
You
At
need to
least
read through
I
it.
I don't feel like I can do this because I
You didn't have enough time to read
I
it.
didn't have enough time to read it, and I also think that, as I said 2 weeks ago, we are supposed to be
Okay,
looking at bills in a more rigorous manner, and I'm just not comfortable getting something at the very last minute.
all right. That being said, one of the main functions of having these meetings is to pay the bills of the community. So if there are no questions, I'm gonna make a motion to pay the bills of the community. $595,303.50.
Second,
Call the roll. Sally, call the roll.
Trustees Rawlings.
Yes.
Manning, yes. Trustee Yajari,
I understand what Nora's saying, so I would say no.
no.
Yes,
Thank you.
the clapping does not need
Yes.
my
Trustee
job.
Hear
Young,
me?
yes,
trustee Lucas.
I'm abstaining now.
Abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
And Mayor Murphy.
Aye. Thank you. Held sessions, item 4A is next on the agenda. Kellogg Sessions resolution authorizing execution of Kellogg Sessions contract for sanitary sewer rehabilitation of areas 7, 9, 10, and the West Basin Phase 2. Gino, could we give a brief outline of this?
Sure, Mayor. This is the phase 2 sewer rehabilitation in the meters 7, 9, 10 area in the West Basin. Green Mountain Pipeline Services in conjunction with Westmoreland are going to be executing the plan prepared by Arcadis to perform slip lining and manhole repairs on our sanitary sewer system in those areas, as well as to do 11 direct replacements of pipes that have been deemed too damaged to repair. Kellogg Sessions will be performing the construction management of the areas overseeing the work, confirming work has been completed, and as well as coordinating with the Westchester County Department of Health to approve all of the direct replacements, scheduling the air test, and submitting all the necessary documentations to the Westchester County Department of Health.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the resolution gives a very good history and update of the work. So if you want to read that, it's voluminous.
Seven, nine.
Yes, 7,
10.
9, yes, it is. The resolution is right. What Sally was asking, the resolution in the work session was misnumbered, but it's numbered correctly in here. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is Seagrave Museum donation. The Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department has a 1985 Seagrave truck that is beyond its useful life. And it was deemed surplus this year, and there isn't a lot of market for 1985 fire trucks. So the fire department was approached by Seagrave Company because they have a museum of classic fire trucks, and they asked if the fire department if they could donate it. And the fire department wants to donate this truck to that museum. And there'll be a plaque talking about the Village of Mamaroneck Fire Department and what it does at the museum. So I think it's a good use of the equipment, and it's a good way to let people know about the amazing work that our fire department does. Okay, I will make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The next up is a PBA donation. The PBA is donating $500 to the Spooktacular, which is the Halloween parade on October 22nd, 2023. We thank the PBA, which stands for Patrolman Benevolent Association, which in sum and substance is the union for the police officers. Any questions or concerns? I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 4D, leaf blower law. Resolution scheduling a public hearing on PLS leaf blower law. We discussed this extensively in work sessions. This would set the public hearing where people can comment and suggest changes or alterations to the law on October 23rd, 2023. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, a lot of seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 4E. Local law T, unified solar permit. What this is right now, if you were going to put solar panels on the roof of your house, you have to go to the Board of Architectural Review, and it takes up time and it takes up money. So what this law would allow people to do is, if you're gonna put solar on your house and you're keeping the number of panels below 20, you don't have to go to the BAR. It could be approved by the building department itself. If you go to 21, you got to go to the BAR. But I've been checking out people's roofs as I go around the community, and 20 is usually a little less than what people have anyway. So it I think will help people, encourage people to do this, one less onerous step in the process. And everybody I talk to that has them tells me that it's worth the investment. So we're setting this public hearing once again for October 23rd, 2023.
Moved.
I need a second.
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 All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 4F. 4F is resolution scheduling public hearing on PLLW 2023. For October 23rd, once again, this is a law that makes the stormwater control in the village of Mamaroneck much more stringent, probably more stringent than any community in Westchester County. We're going from a 25-year storm to a 100-year storm. And it really will do a lot to keep new development, no matter where that development is, from contributing more stormwater into our already overloaded stormwater collection system. A lot of places in this community, probably if you're built before 1980s, there is, please open up. If you're built before 1980, there is no stormwater remediation. All of your stormwater goes directly into the system. Please don't close it all the way, Marion. Thank you very much. So this will help any new development that comes in. There won't be just a dumping of water into the storm system. They will have to retain it on their property up to a 100-year storm, which is pretty significant, as I've learned from the engineer here. So this scheduled the public hearing once again for October 23rd, 2023, which promises to be a busy meeting. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4G, safety items. Resolution approving a handicapped and ADA parking ramp. Resolve, a handicapped parking on street is the first one. Park Avenue, south from a point at the terminus of Park Avenue at Florence Park to a point 20 feet east thereof, we're putting a handicap spot. Any questions, concerns? Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is let's get one.
There's only one traffic safety item.
Okay, all right, I skipped the 4H, okay. Moving of pole cameras and wireless upgrades. Jerry, can you give us a brief outline of what this is?
Mayor,
Just first of all, just let me explain, this isn't pole cameras for flooding, this is pole cameras for security for the police department.
Mayor, in November of 2022, approximately at that time, we started installing the cameras, and we continued to install them all the way until the spring. What we have is an issue with Con Ed and some of the power that they're allowing us to use on certain poles. And what this change order does is it changes the configuration of the cameras so that the latency is eliminated on cameras that we're having trouble with in and around Mamaroneck Avenue and Williamson.
Thank you. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and thank you to Chief DeRuza for pointing this out and working toward the solution. Okra, I'm sorry to keep you up so late, young man. We are approving $3,000 for the Okra program. What this is they will work we're authorizing $3,000. The project has to come back to us at the end of the day. The students from Okra in the high school, which is the original Civic Research and Action Program, which is a really great way for youngsters to get involved in government and learn about government. They are engaging with the kids at Mamaroneck Avenue School, and they are going to look for a project that the kids can agree upon that would help the community. And they have a $3,000 budget, and then we will try and implement that budget so the kids can see that their ideas come to fruition and it helps the community. So I thank you as the representative of Okra, and I know you and your comrades were here a few weeks ago in your nice dress white shirts, and sorry we didn't get to you then, but we're getting to you now. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the next up is clerk treasurer stamp. This would allow the clerk treasurer to use a stamp instead of physically signing every document. There are thousands of documents that the clerk treasurer has to sign during the year. And he will still approve the document, but it would just make life easier if there could be a stamp. And for that to happen, we have to approve it here at the Board of Trustees. So that's what this is about.
I'm happy to make that motion.
And I will second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Next, communication to the board. If anybody has anything they'd like to communicate.
Florida, FMAC. So 35% of the water we get is from us, 65 is from Elk County. The whole point tonight is you guys have to go to bat for us. And I know you are, but it's frustrating and at the pace that it's going right now. So the county, the state, wherever you have to go to look at the dam and the reservoir, okay? And I really don't want to hear benefit to cost ratio because they're putting numbers on our heads, okay? 2007, 50 million. Ida, who knows, probably double. Okay, so we keep getting flooded and we keep doing this, they're just throwing money at us. They don't understand what a flood victim goes through unless you go through it. Unless you feel it that night that it's raining and the stress of it. Okay, they have to know that you guys have to go to bat for us. That's my whole point tonight. I've been saying it to you. I don't mind the affordable housing, but it's starting to get where it's going above us. That was my whole point tonight. Okay, the flooding is not taking a back burner to anything. It's number one. I've been saying it since day one. I'll say it again. It's number one. We got to take care of it. I can't go to Mr. Latimer's office, or I can't go to the Shelley's office, and I can't just call them up. If I could, I would. You know I would. Okay? I called for 2 weeks for that whole DEC fiasco. For 2 weeks. Steve Otis's office and Shelley Mayer's office. They don't wanna listen to me. They'll listen to you though. They will listen to you. So
And they
you
have.
need to put the pressure on them. Enough is enough. It's their water, it's not ours. Okay? You can't go around complaining about it. That with the stormwater management, we have to fix that too. They cannot dump on us anymore. I've been saying it since 2007. That reservoir has to be fixed, whatever the cost, Gino, because you know, I sent him emails and I don't care. I don't care what my crazy idea was. I don't care how much it costs. Because it'll be a lot of money, but I'll tell you what, if you do it, we're not gonna get flooded. Don't back down from what they owe us, period.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, thank you very much.
I understand your frustration with flooding. I really do. And I don't flood, and I know that. Believe me, I am up all night when it floods too. And I am out all night. And I know it's horrific. But we have made progress. And I know you don't feel that when you get 3 feet of water in your downstairs. I understand that.
I just want to make a comment to everything that was been said tonight in regards to the flooding. And being new on this board, it is different. You see things on a different side. Prior to me being on the board, did I think that Mamaroneck was doing anything in regards to flooding? Not really. Being on the board, me seeing how much it takes, the dedication in terms of your time, not just I can't even speak on the village employees and how much time and effort that they take to, when it does flood, what they do is beyond miraculous. When it comes down to being on the board and the time that we have to take to advocate on behalf of the residents, it's a lot. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. So I wholeheartedly say that I feel and understand your concerns, your passion, your trauma, because it is real. And I don't ever want to dismiss anybody's trauma because I know my own. I know what panic attacks feel like. I know what anxiety feels like. I know when water starts to rise, what you do and what you don't do. Like I get it. I do commend the village for the work that is being done now. And yes, we do have to do a lot more. Do we have to put a lot more pressure on the county level and the state level? Most definitely. Most definitely. But I'm not gonna sit there. I don't want to say that we have not done anything. Because anything means what wasn't done before. There's things that have been done and there's things that we're still doing. And I hope that by you continuously advocating for yourself in a way, we need better solutions. We need better solutions, and we do need to continuously, what they say, put your foot on their neck a little bit more. And that's what I'm gonna say.
Thank you. And I do understand PTSD too. I certainly understand trauma. I can say without any fear of being refuted that more has happened in the past 2 years than has happened in the 100 years before to alleviate flooding. There was not an Army Corps of Engineers plan even on the horizon on August 30th, 2021. We got that enacted. We got them to do that. It was a huge step. That's one of them of making this community flood resilient. Doesn't solve everything, but nothing gets solved without it. It's 50% right there. And we have been working in the rivers. I know everybody who's talked tonight knows people who work in DPW, and I implore you to talk to them about what's been going on. How many hundreds of hours they've spent in the river. How much, they put themselves in danger going into that river constantly. And, we're gonna keep at it. And I know there's always more to be done, and we need to advocate for making Harrison and White Plains and Scarsdale and New Rochelle and the town of Mamaroneck more accountable for their water. And we will, but it's frustrating and it's awful, but I know it's hard to hear this, but we have made progress and we'll continue to make progress. And this is our first priority. Yes, we're talking about, this board unanimously voted for that building across the street to be built. But you haven't heard us talk about that in months because that's done and over. We talk about flooding every meeting. There's going to be a flood report from the village manager every meeting. So with that being said, I'm just going to finish up what we have to do here. Reports from the clerk treasurer.
Yes, Mayor. Bill Spiro, member of the Budget Committee, has resigned. That is all.
And thank Mr. Spiro. I know he's a longtime volunteer for the village of Mamaroneck. Yeah, he's a really smart guy. Yeah. Report from the village attorney.
Mayor, local law 15, which was the local law that established new notice requirements for land use applications, was filed with the Secretary of State and became effective on September 21st.
Thank you, Gary. Not Jerry, Robert, I'm sorry. Minutes, boards, committees, minutes of Board of Trustees, work session, regular session for September 12th, 2023. Minutes of the Committee for the Environment meeting of July 18th, 2023, and minutes of the Ethics Board of June 19th, 2023. I just want to point out that tomorrow night in Harbor Island Park, down by the beach where the bandstand is, there will be a vigil to support our allies and our friends in this community who are really hurting by the absolutely barbaric and horrific attacks that have happened in Israel by Gaza, by Hamas near Gaza. There's a lot of people in this community who no longer feel safe anywhere and feel like history is repeating itself in some way. And I think there's some times in life where people have to stand up and show what they care about and who they are. So I encourage folks to come down to the beach, near the beach, by the bandstand in Harbor Island Park tomorrow at 5:30. It should probably last a half hour, 45 minutes. So I just want to end with that. And I'd like to end with a moment of silence for the over thousands of people, both in Israel and in Gaza, who have perished in the past few days. And we all hope that the violence ends soon. Thank you all. I need a motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.